Hey everybody, we're down here at the city dump with all the pretty sights of Cedar Rapids. Going to bring you a really fun film. A film sometimes called The Atomic Brain, but most often called Monstrosity, 1964. Fun film directed by Joseph Mascelli. Now Joseph Mascelli, this is the only film that he directed, like it or not, and whether this is a monstrosity or a travesty, that's for you to decide. This is a film that really puts at, I think, best Mascelli's style, because Mascelli was a cinematographer. Now, he didn't do the cinematography on this himself, but he was known as a cinematographer. He did a lot of Dennis Ray Steckler's films, like Thrill Killers and Incredibly Strange Creatures that got mixed up and came back as zombies. So he worked on a lot of the sort of the core underground or independent stuff of the early 60s. And here he had a chance to wet his chops and make his own film here. And this film, Monstrosity, well, the plot isn't really something to write home about. It's kind of interesting. It's one of your typical mad scientist who's going to do brain transplantation to help some old lady who wants to look young. So she collects all of these women together, and the doctor keeps doing all these transplants, even transplants a cat's brain into a woman's body. And the woman cat kind of sits in the corner licking itself and things like that. Kind of fun. Joseph Mascelli, he's known for not only his cinematography that he's done, but the year after he made this film, he wrote a rather significant book. It's called The 5 C's of Cinematography. Those 5 C's are cutting. Now for me, cutting is not a part of cinematography, but I guess I'll give it to him. Composition, yep. Okay. Close-ups, yeah. Continuity, yeah. And I think crap was the other 5th one. Okay. Now, actually, you've got to kind of watch this to determine whether you think this film is a piece of crap or not. I really enjoyed it. There's some nice looks in here that you're going to, I think, kind of find yourself saying the composition is great. The continuity is fine here. His use of close-ups is really cool. His continuity is very, very fluid. And whether there's a lot of crap here or not, you make the decision on that. The film, by acting standards go, the old lady does a good job. I'm not really thinking that this film really is going to win any awards that way. But it's nice to see Mascelli actually making a film on his own, going out there and getting involved with what it means to be not behind a camera as a cameraman, but calling the shots. And you know that there are a lot of times in here where he was really calling some great shots, some great uses of depth compositions, some great uses of lighting to call attention to the various kinds of continuities, and his cutting back and forth between close-ups to create point of view and so on. Really nicely done. The film itself, and let me look here at my notes real quick. Yeah, it was actually photographed by Alfred Taylor. Alfred Taylor, and it kind of has that look to it as well. Alfred Taylor shot Spider Baby. Remember Spider Baby? Has some of that element, really crisp black and white footage. There's some really fun stuff in here. The film itself kind of reminds me of one of those Gilligan's Island episodes. Remember the one where the mad scientist takes them to his island, and then he does all these brain transplants and all these people get their heads mixed up and stuff like that. This film sort of reminds me of that, particularly the scene where the one woman gets a cat brain stuck in her head. Well, I think you're going to have fun with this film. I've seen it a number of times. And it might so happen you might see a few different intros to this one, because I've been playing around with this film quite a bit. Well, Monstrosity, Atomic Brain, 1964, Joseph Mascelli. Roll 'em, Smokey. It's noisy out here.